Imagine it. You've just finished building the perfect end cap display and you couldn't be more proud. You see the store manager walking over to check out your work, and he doesn't look as happy as you'd expect given how much you've just done. In fact, he looks downright mad. Turns out that perfect display is on the wrong aisle. And what should be a moment of triumph has turned into a moment of turmoil, as you now have to deal with an upset store manager and a lot of rework. You're feeling defensive, he's upset, and this situation is on fire. How can we make sure that cooler heads prevail? It's time to turn down the heat. HEAT is an acronym. HEAT stands for the 4 things you can do to help de-escalate a situation when people are upset. It stands for hear, empathize, apologize, and take action. By doing these 4 steps, you can turn a bad situation into a manageable one quickly and simply. It starts with H, or hear. Hear is all about hearing them out. When people are upset, the most important thing you can do is listen. Understanding begins with listening. What are they really saying? Why are they really upset? So often, when a mistake is made, particularly by us, we become defensive. We want to explain ourselves and try to tell people what we thought we were doing. But in trying to explain ourselves, we come across as defensive. And often, our explanations aren't really explaining the problem. We miss each other and talk right past one another because we're not taking the time to hear what the person who's upset is really upset about. So when you find yourself in conflict with a store manager or account owner or a receiver or whoever, take time to hear what they have to say. Get to the core, ask questions, ask for clarifications, and make sure you really understand what it is that has them upset. Next up is E, for empathize. And empathy is all about the ability to put yourself in someone else's position and relate to how they're feeling. Think about it from their perspective. Put yourself in their shoes and ask yourself, why is this causing them so much distress? Then, communicate that back to them in a way that shows them that you understand what they're going through. A little empathy goes a long way in making sure that we are able to control a situation's emotions. When people don't feel heard or understood, they react most poorly. By taking the time to empathize, you show that you understand the problem in a real, emotional way that helps them feel better about your relationship. Next up is A, for apologize. Now, apology is not just about taking fault. Maybe the situation is a true accident or true mistake. Maybe the situation is nobody's fault. Doesn't matter. The apology isn't about taking the blame. It's about showing the other person that you care. So take the time to apologize. It's not about saying you're at fault. It's about showing the person who's upset that you understand them and that you sympathize with them and that you're willing to take accountability for what's going on. Finally is T, for take action. We've heard them out, we've empathized, we've apologized, but all of that only leaves us in a place where there's still a problem to be resolved. The last and most important step has to be to take action and try and make things better. Now, sometimes mistakes take place that there's simply no way to remedy. In those instances, we should work to take action that will help prevent mistakes from being done in the future. No matter what, when something goes wrong, if we can't fix it, we can at least learn from it and try to make sure it doesn't happen again. We work in the people business, and people are prone to conflict. It's inevitable. You're never going to have a relationship with an account that doesn't eventually have a problem, and that's okay. It's not about having no issues. It's about how we deal with the issues at hand, and that's where Turn Down the Heat can be so important. When we find ourselves having made a mistake, when we find ourselves in conflict, hear them out, empathize with their position, apologize, and then take action to make things better. If you do these 4 steps every time, you will contribute to a consistent relationship of trust that will grow exponentially over time and make those instances a little less frequent.